So I met Jeannie at your Aunt Gladys's. She passed me the Manischewitz. I took one look at this punum and almost plotzed on the kugel.
Has it been long enough now that we can all admit it? Season 8 of The Big Bang Theory is bad.
Oh, you take that back.
Over its impressively long tenure on the air, The Big Bang Theory had a lot of ups and downs, but of all the show's low points, Season 8 was by far the most dramatic fall. And no, it's not because Penny changed her hair.
Hey! Look who's back!
Your hair is different. You changed your hair. I can't take this. I'm out.
In March of 2014, halfway through Big Bang Theory's 7th season, it was announced that CBS had renewed the show for 3 more years. Seasons 8, 9, and 10 were all greenlit as part of a multi-year-long deal because, at the time, The Big Bang was inevitable. When it first arrived on air in 2007, it absolutely lived up to its name. It exploded in popularity, and audiences were now living in its world-altering pop cultural aftermath. By season 7, each episode was averaging around 20 million viewers, and CBS wanted to keep those eyes glued to their screens, so it made sense for them to secure the show through 10 seasons. Of course, The Big Bang would actually go on for an additional 2 seasons after this multi-year deal for a total of 12. But back in 2014, nobody knew we were getting those extra 2 years of Big Bang.
I thought me having sex with Emily was gonna be the big news.
That's right!
You'd think having 3 years of runway would be great news for a long-running sitcom. Knowing how much time you have means you can plan out multi-season arcs and foster the already present relationship dynamics that exist between the core cast. And maybe that's what the Big Bang Theory creative team thought they were doing with season 8, laying the groundwork for bigger and better things, but that's not the way it felt to fans. And the ratings reflected that attitude, with the 8th season being the worst in the entire run of the show.
Yeah, he is pretty stupid.
Hey, we can say it. You can't.
There were a lot of little issues that piled up to make season 8 so terrible, but handily, almost all of them are connected to a much larger, more pervasive problem. They broke up the gang.
Amy and I have a superior relationship to yours.
You don't honestly think that, do you?
Leonard, I assumed you knew.
Part of the magic of those first few seasons of Big Bang was that this group of lonely, nerdy guys found community and connection in each other and their shared hobbies. But by the time season 8 rolled around, 3 of 4 of those guys had wives or serious partners.
We are so smart. Why didn't girls like us in high school?
Because we were awkward and weird and couldn't play sports!
Right again.
Howard got married to Bernadette in season 5, Leonard and Penny got engaged at the end of season 7, and even Sheldon, the most terminally childish and socially inept one of the group, wound up having Amy as his girlfriend going into season 8. Obviously, when you're making a show that runs this long, you want to have characters that grow and change. You want their relationships to develop and their lives to progress. But in this case, it kind of ruined the entire conceit of the show and drove a wedge between our main characters.
Sheldon, it was just a thought.
No, here's a thought. You're not moving in, Leonard's not moving out, everything stays exactly the way it is.
They were all living very separate existences, and it became harder and harder to find reasons to bring everyone together for hijinks when they could otherwise be spending time with their significant others. This meant that throughout season 8, characters were often paired off for their subplots rather than doing things together as one big group. And the chemistry the show had worked so hard to develop was no longer relevant.
I'm sensing awkwardness, am I right?
Yes.
Swish.
In its place were plots more focused on the banalities of romantic relationships, domestic life, and petty drama between couples, friends, or colleagues. And the humor followed suit, leaning away from the nerdy and into the normie.
Sharing negative attitudes about a third party can be a powerful bonding force between two friends. In the spirit of science, what is that little skank's problem?
There were fewer niche references to actual nerd culture and more generic everyman jokes with a couple of bland references to Marvel and DC sprinkled in for not so good measure.
Can you believe it's been 5 years since our first date?
I know. Do you think I should start watching the Flash TV show?
This refocus also meant that some of our characters' personalities were changed to better fit the new direction of the show. Amy increasingly shed her deadpan delivery, her strict robotic mannerisms were nowhere to be found. Leonard turned into an insufferable and insecure jerk after he finally got his girl, and even Bernadette lost her sweet and ditzy nature to become a kind of nagging wife stereotype with a mean, controlling streak at home and at work. Like in episode 10 when we learn how everyone she works with is terrified of her.
Penny told me that everyone's scared of me.
Why would she say that? You know she drinks, right?
These characters are nearly unrecognizable from the people they were, and not in a good way where their growths feel natural and well thought out. Instead, you're left wondering why you even liked them in the first place.
I mean, it could be a little awkward since I make so much more money than Howie.
You didn't have to say so much more.
Well, I didn't have to, but for the sake of accuracy, I felt that I should.
Breaking up the group and coupling them off also meant that the other core feature of the show, Leonard and Penny's will they won't they relationship, had to be reworked. Since they got engaged in the season 7 finale, you might expect them to get married in season 8, but no. Instead, the two spend the entire season hitting stumbling block after stumbling block, spinning their wheels, ruminating on whether or not they're right for each other, and desperately trying to keep the spark alive.
Are you mad at me?
No, stop being stupid.
Hugh?
While they were always pretty hot and cold, this version of that idea is almost infuriating to watch. Since they've already committed, it becomes increasingly annoying to watch them flip-flop and draw out the moment fans have been waiting for since the first season. And when the writers finally relented and had the couple head to Vegas to elope in the season 8 finale, they just had to get in one final trite bit of relationship drama where Leonard admits to having cheated on Penny in the past.
Would you rather I didn't tell you?
No, I don't want there to be secrets between us.
See, now I'm confused. I mean, what am I supposed to do?
Keep your mouth off other women.
And then, we didn't even get to see the wedding until season 9. And Leonard and Penny's friends and family, they don't get to see it until season 10, which might be the worst example of keeping the gang apart in the whole show. They're not the only couple who stagnates in season 8 either. Howard and Bernadette snipe at each other while trying to save up for a house, and after saying I love you in episode 8, Amy pressures Sheldon to further commit until she gets tired of waiting and breaks up with him in the finale.
Well, Gollum, you're an expert on rings. What do I do with this one?
In fact, season 8 really confirmed that the Big Bang Theory had actually just turned into the Sheldon show.
Sheldon, I'm more than smart enough to take your class.
No.
With the ensemble well and truly dead, the Big Bang Theory was free to lavish their most popular character with more attention by giving him solo stories or pairing him off with one of his friends for an intensely isolated adventure. Sheldon had no shortage of solitary plot derailments that went nowhere, and when he grouped up with someone else, these stories almost always culminated in trifling arguments that made him look intentionally rude and mean-spirited.
Apparently, I have a reputation for being obnoxious.
What?
There were other tangential issues that only added to the already flailing season. For instance, the death of Carol and Susie, who played Howard's mother, Mrs. Wolowitz, occurred halfway through the season, and the creative heads behind The Big Bang Theory had to scramble to write around it while also grieving the loss of a terrifically talented woman. Now, to give credit where it's due, the episode where Howard and the gang mourn his mother is genuinely great TV, and we did a whole video about it on this channel, but after we said all the goodbyes to Mrs. Wolowitz, her absence was hard to ignore. Without her hoarse shrieks emanating from off-screen, the show just never felt the same.
Howard! Can you hear me?
I can hear you without the phone!
And then there's the elephant in the room you've all been waiting for us to address. Penny's season 8 hair did not look good. It was a drastic change and nobody seemed to know how to style it, so it never looked consistent from episode to episode. And so it became a constant distraction for viewers who had grown accustomed to her long blonde locks. And to be fair, Cuoco hated it too. She's gone on record in more recent years to express what a bad idea the haircut was. Did some viewers probably click off when the cute girl next door suddenly had a Karen haircut? Yeah, probably. But as we've outlined in this video, the problems with Season 8 run way deeper than a simple change in hairstyle. Rather than seeing Season 8 as an exciting jumping off point for a guaranteed 3 seasons of TV, the writers and showrunners seem to treat it more like a free ride they could coast off of until the real work began in the later seasons. They siloed off the group into little cliques, killed the momentum, changed the tone and subject matter of the show, and forced several fan-favorite characters into acting like different people just so they could fall back on predictable sitcom relationship tropes and manufactured drama. It was a mess, a travesty that was hard to look at and yet impossible to take our eyes off of, kind of like Penny's hair. And well, that's all we've got for you today. Now we want to hear your opinion. Do you agree that season 8 of The Big Bang Theory was the worst? Or do you have another season at the bottom of your ranking? And what did you think about Penny's haircut? Let us know in the comments, and be sure to like this video and subscribe to Nerdstalgic so you don't miss our next upload.